All aboard, into the Great White North. Right then, let's talk trains. Not just any train, mind you. I'm talking about those overnight behemoths that rumble through the night, especially in winter. There's a romance to it, a sense of adventure you just don't get from airplanes. And when it comes to train journeys, Canada in winter, well, that's a whole different beast. Canada has that in spades, especially when winter rolls around and throws a giant white blanket over everything. So the idea of experiencing this vastness from the cozy confines of a train, well, it was too tempting to resist. There I was, bundled up like a penguin in my warmest coat, hat pulled low, watching the platform fill with fellow adventurers. The air was crisp, you could practically taste the snow, and the excitement was palpable. Then, with a mighty roar and a hiss of steam, the train arrived, all gleaming metal and warm, inviting lights. Now, I've seen my fair share of landscapes in my travels, but there's something about the Canadian wilderness in winter that just takes your breath away. It's raw, it's powerful, and it's absolutely massive. From my window, the world transformed into a never-ending canvas of white. Imagine this. Snow-dusted forests stretching as far as the eye can see, the trees heavy with snow, looking like giant marshmallows. Frozen lakes, their surfaces so smooth and clear they look like mirrors reflecting the sky, and every now and then a glimpse of a mountain peak piercing the clouds, its slopes a study in white and gray. It's like traveling through a giant snow globe, except this one's real, and you're right in the middle of it. The world slows down, the only sounds the gentle clickety-clack of the train and the occasional bird song. The winter sun, low in the sky, casts this incredible golden glow on everything, making the snow sparkle and the trees shimmer. It's like the whole world is lit from within, magical, ethereal. Now I know what you're thinking, Bill, all that scenery is great, but what about the train itself? Was it like being stuck in a tin can with bad coffee and uncomfortable seats? Fear not, my friend, this was no ordinary train, this was Canadian hospitality on rails. Imagine this, you step into your cabin and it's like stepping into a cozy little hotel room on wheels. Warm lighting, plush seats that convert into surprisingly comfortable beds, and big windows to soak up the views. They even provide you with fluffy blankets and pillows, perfect for snuggling up with a good book and a steaming mug of hot chocolate. And the food? Forget those sad airplane meals, we're talking hearty stews, fresh salads, and the most delicious pastries you've ever tasted. They even have a dining car where you can enjoy your meal while watching the scenery roll by. It's like being in a moving restaurant with the best views in the house. Canadians are just naturally friendly, and the train staff were no exception. They made you feel like you weren't just a passenger, you were a guest in their home. Section 4, Moose on the Loose. A true story. Sort of. Now, any good travel story needs a little excitement, right? A dash of the unexpected. Well, my Canadian train adventure certainly delivered on that front. Picture this. I'm nestled in my cabin enjoying a particularly good cup of cocoa, when suddenly the train lurches to a halt. Now I'm no train conductor, but I've watched enough movies to know that unscheduled stops in the middle of nowhere are rarely a good sign. My imagination ran wild. Had we hit a snowdrift? Was there a problem with the tracks? Were we being boarded by a band of rogue penguins? Okay, maybe not the last one. Turns out the reason for our abrupt stop was far more amusing and very Canadian. A moose, a massive, majestic moose, had decided that the train tracks looked like a perfectly good place for a stroll. And there he was, just standing there, chewing his cud and looking at the train like we were the ones who were in the wrong place. The whole train erupted in laughter. Eventually, Mr. Moose decided he'd had enough of the spotlight and lumbered off into the woods. Section 5. Why winter in Canada is just different. So there you have it, my Canadian winter train adventure. It was everything I'd hoped for and more. The scenery was breathtaking, the train was comfortable, the food was delicious, and I even had a close encounter with a moose. But it was more than just the individual elements. It was the whole experience. The feeling of being whisked away through a winter wonderland, the peace and quiet of the journey, the friendliness of the people, it all combined to create something truly special. There's a certain magic to winter in Canada, a stillness and a beauty that gets under your skin. So if you're looking for an adventure that's a little different, a little off the beaten path, I urge you book yourself a ticket on a Canadian winter train.